We'll call the meeting to order, and as we have done in the past, we'll refer to our agenda. And the first item on the agenda is the acceptance of the September minutes, which Laura has distributed to all members. I believe you've got them all. That being the case, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as distributed. Somebody make a motion, please. I guess you got to raise your hand to speak. Buddy, there's Buddy. Buddy, you're not. We can't hear you. I don't think your speaker's on.
If in the lower left, if you move your mouse over of the little Zoom window, there should be a button to unmute yourself.
He's looking for his technical assistant, like mine, Elaine.
Mine's actually in the upper right to unmute.
All right, yeah.
Mike, are you an iPhone an Apple person versus? Yeah. That might be why.
Yeah.
Here comes his technical assistant.
There you go, buddy.
That's better. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. I make a motion of the minutes of September.
Okay, motion made. Somebody want to second it?
Second.
Made and seconded. Hearing any need for discussion? Hearing no need for discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Raise your hand, I guess. We do it that way. All right. Did we get everybody?
I always feel bad, like
Yeah,
raising my hand when I did them. So yeah, go.
Okay, Deborah Rolfe is coming online. Let's wait for her to get here. A minute.
And we got Kevin as well.
It looks like Kevin's getting online too.
Yeah, because that's on, so you're good. They can hear everything you say.
Look at us all being so professional on our website.
There we go. There's Deborah. Can you hear us, Deborah?
Yep. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Kevin, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
Can you hear
very
me?
good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Very good.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody. So we just approved the minutes from our September meeting, and we'll move on now to the treasurer's report. Laura, would you please give that?
Yes. So we have, give me 1 second. In the donation account, we have $1,383.44. In the, I'm sorry, that's the budget. $1,383.44 in the budget. In the donation account, we have $1,965.01. And in the state grant money, we have $4,822.41. The budget amount includes the National Grid bills for August and, well, I don't know what months they were for. They cleared in August and September, the $25.56 and the $16.
All right.
We've gotten, I actually have a note to myself to contact June because we've gotten the regular, like, I want to call them bank statements, but they're not bank statements. They're statements from the town from the town accountant that we're supposed to make sure that we reconcile to. We've gotten them July, August, and September for the budget account, but not for anything else. So I can't tell if anything has gone through those other two accounts since June. We closed them out at the end of June. So those balances that I just said for the donation account and the grant money account are basically confirmed at the end of June, and I can't tell if anything's gone through them since then.
Okay, I'm not aware personally that anything has. Did you want to perhaps coordinate that with June?
I'm
Verify.
planning, yeah, I just didn't do it before the meeting yet.
Okay, that's fine.
I kind of wanted to, actually, it came up this afternoon because I stopped at the town hall, town offices to pick up the mail and got the two from the budget account from August and September. And I thought, it's weird that we haven't gotten anything on the other two.
Okay.
It came up this afternoon.
Yeah, if you can just check with her on that and perhaps report the findings at the next meeting.
I know that you and Buddy went and with the Lowe's account, maybe that just hasn't caught up with it yet, so.
It has not. I have not submitted the invoice yet, and
Okay.
we'll be addressing that.
That was one activity that I thought might have happened, so.
It has not, because
Okay.
the amount that's in the grant account, as you mentioned, $4,822.41, does not reflect the Lowe's invoice, which will be submitted very shortly to June. So you've heard the treasurer's report. Can I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented?
I move we accept.
Okay, that's Kevin's has made a motion to accept. Can I have it seconded, please?
I'll second it.
Buddy is seconded. Any need for further discussion? Hearing no need for further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Everybody else acknowledged? Okay. All righty, very good. Thank you. And we'll go back to Laura again for a review of any incoming correspondence.
So the only thing that came in, other than the sheets from the town accountant today, was the Mass Farm Bureau Federation News and Views, the newspaper thing that comes.
Okay,
All that was in the mailbox.
all right, very good. Slow month, I guess. How about any emails?
Yeah, so there
Any
was,
noteworthy emails?
there was a few, nothing terribly noteworthy, but Massachusetts Grown and Fresher News, Mass Building at the Big E is closed, but they're doing a whole bunch of other stuff. If anybody, some of it has not happened yet, which is why I have it on the list. Carl, you may already, I'm sure you already know part of this, and it's probably coming up later with the agenda. Correspondence between the Board of Selectmen, the town accountant, and Carl about the draft sketch canvas regarding River Bridge Lot 7 community garden for right of 99-year town land lease. So I'm guessing that that's going to come up later, but
Well, I might as well address it right now. I didn't specifically put it on the agenda because I distributed the information to all you folks. Basically, they were wanting to know what the assets were down at the community garden. Just for background for other people's information, the town has a 99-year lease of that 7-acre piece of conservation land. That's where the community garden is located. And over the years, we have put several assets in place. And I just did a reconciliation and accounting of those assets and forwarded them to the selectman's office. They have some reporting obligation under the 99-year lease. And I don't know much more than that about it, but that's what that was all about. So I just identified all the recent assets that we put in there. The telephone pole that was put in, the underground wiring, the well, and other things like that. So that's what that was all about.
okay.
Okay?
So
Anybody have
then,
any questions on that? Okay, go ahead, Laura.
so then like Massachusetts Grown and Fresher News came through with photo contest winners announcements, and then there was some upcoming events and flower use survey from the Mass Department of Agricultural Resources. Something that I actually didn't come into my realm until when I just read this one, something called, it's from MDAR, but it's called the Mass Grown Exchange. And it's a food produce buyers listing, and they had added some people to it.
I think that's with the distribution of,
Yes.
a way of distributing locally grown produce, and it's
Yep.
an organization set up to do that.
Yeah, I just learned of it today. Then there's MDAR sent out a request for response related to agricultural soil health program, ASH program. Baker Polito administration awards over 1.5 million to improve food security in Massachusetts. Agricultural produce safety program, round 2, which still was, deadlines were coming up in November if anybody wanted to participate. And then, of course, several reminders of the security training for the state, which I did another one this afternoon. So we are sort of up to date. There's one more, but it's not due until December 1st. So,
Okay. So as in the past, if there's any additional information you want from any of these emails, I'm sure Laura could forward them to you if you want to get in touch with her.
If anybody wants anything, then speak now or email me tomorrow because it goes away pretty fast after that.
All right, very good. Thank you, Laura. Moving on to old business, and under that, we have the maintenance of the community garden shed status report, which I'll ask Buddy to address in a second, but let me just give a little brief summary. On the 21st of September, Buddy and I went to Lowe's and we purchased several pieces of material for the restoration or maintenance of the garden shed. We bought 12 sheets of texture 111. We bought several pieces of 1x4s for the trimming it out. We bought a couple of gallons of stain, various screws and nails and other hardware. We also bought some pressure-treated lumber for a small ramp to get into the shed to replace the cement blocks that are currently the steps to get into the shed. So, Buddy, would you like to give us a status of where we are and what's going to be done and when and how and all that sort of thing?
Well, I'm working, I got the all the sheets stained. I did have to go back to Lowe's and buy 3 more gallons of stain. I can't believe how that stuff soaked up the stain.
Oh, the T111.
But I got 3 gallons last night. I finished it today, so we're ready to go down, put them in as soon as we get, get things squared away and the weather straightens out. Now we'll go down, try to bang it out.
Okay, so make sure you keep the receipt, Buddy, and get it to me, and we'll process it against the grant funding.
That's fine.
I should mention that we spent, and we'll be getting to that in a minute. We spent $737.07 on that date on the 21st of September. Using the highway department's credit card to do that, we had a discount savings of $38.82, which is reflected in that number I just gave you. And there is no sales tax applied to it as well. So I think we probably have the bulk of the material we need to do the maintenance. There may be additional add-ons, like Buddy just mentioned, he needed more stain. So there may be a few other things that we need to purchase to get that job done. But I think the bulk of the material has already been purchased. So with that being said, and Buddy's estimate of the labor involved, we had initially ballparked a budget for this project, again using the grant money, of around $2,000. And it seems to me at the moment it's probably going to come in at somewhere between $1,400 and $1,500 or thereabouts. Would you agree with that, Buddy?
Yep.
You think that's a reasonable?
Yep.
Okay.
Another, the stain cost me $110 roughly, so.
Okay. All right.
Patty, I have a question. Is there anything you need my work group to do to make your work a little bit easier? I know there's really nothing. You're working mainly on the front of the shed, right?
I'm working all the way around it.
Well,
Okay. I noticed one of the gardeners, when he broke down his screen, laid it up against the wall behind the the shed. So I'm gonna have to get that out of there for you. Do you want me to move there's cinder blocks? I don't think there's anything else around it, but I did notice that, and then the picnic table is out back too. So that can be moved further away from the building.
No, I'll have it. I'll have a helper with me, so we can. That's not a big deal.
But
Okay,
he will be working the complete building. The texture 111 is going to go on all 4 sides of the building.
okay, so I need to get that screen moved somewhere. I couldn't believe he just left it out back, leaning up against the wall. Maybe because I had told them not to encumber any movement within the building. And so since it's a pretty good sized screen, he figured it was safer to leave it outside. So we can just move that over against the raised beds temporarily, I guess.
All right, very good. Anybody have any questions concerning the maintenance project? Buddy, do you have any more to say, or?
No, I think we're just moving ahead.
All right, very good, thank you.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the next subject. Purchase of the raised beds, and once they're in place, we'll be having a need for loam to fill them. Again, the preliminary ballpark budget, if you will, to purchase up to 6 raised beds was in the neighborhood of $2,000. Deborah, do you have any current information on that particular project?
Yeah, I have a little bit. I looked up, well, why don't I start with the beds, since that's what you mentioned first. Tractor Supply does have the 2x3x8 galvanized tub, and it's I've seen 2 prices on it, $289 and $299 for that particular thing. And Buddy, I wasn't able to find a source of the, you had said there was a plastic version of it somewhere out there. What was it?
It's a fiberglass one, yeah.
Yeah, do you have the source of that for me?
I'll look into it and I'll get back to you.
Okay, that would be great, because when I looked out there, I wasn't finding anything. So if you can give me that information, that would be great.
Okay.
So if we buy 6 of the Tractor Supply ones, it's gonna come in at a little over $1,700 for the those galvanized tanks. Then I had looked at the gates, Carl, which I had sent you that
Yeah.
information. And the gates at Lowe's, the 38-inch by 48-inch gates, and you had said 4 of them, they were like $66, but you had said you were going to talk to somebody you knew.
I did, and I did speak to the person, and basically it was a dead end. The person was very cooperative and everything, but the person is basically a fabricator, and he's not much into the design effort. So the bottom line, he thought it would be better if we just bought something commercially
Okay.
from an economic point of view.
I didn't look at Home Depot's prices and what they had, because I was waiting to hear what you had said about that. So I'll also look and see what Home Depot has to offer. Usually they're very close in price, but sometimes have some variation. So if we bought 4 of those at $66 and change, it would be around $265 for that. I looked up let me show. So Carl showed me this deer fencing. Everybody see that? I probably should turn those lights off, those glaring spotlights, that he had used. This is the company. I look, is that backwards when you look at it? Good.
Is it
Okay.
10X?
Yeah, TANAX.
Yeah, it's fine.
This particular one was like 330 feet and almost 8 feet high. And in our discussion, Carl had thought that maybe if we bought the 8-foot, which would be cheaper, we cut it in half and we'd have 4 feet high of a fence. And it's not to keep people out, it's just to keep some of the critters out. So I did an estimate of, the garden as it stands now, and then the garden perimeter, if we were to add the 6 beds in the back again. And one of the 330-foot rolls would be adequate to cover either, the smaller footprint and then the larger footprint as well. So that comes in at about $320. And then the fence posts that you had suggested to me, Carl, the 50 pack at 4 inches. And I was trying to remember, I said, if we put one, you said every 10 feet.
Somewhere between 8 and 10 feet, I think would be fine.
Yeah, so one package of 50 would cover the perimeter. That would be fine if I did my math correct.
Okay.
So if you add up the fencing that we looked at, the fence posts, the gates from Lowe's that I told you about, and the Tractor Supply galvanized tanks and some cement blocks, it adds up to about almost $2,500. I did not know about the loam and the compost prices, so I didn't add that in. I can't remember what my budget was.
Well, we were looking with respect to the garden fencing and gates. That was in the $600 to $800 range. And with respect to the raised beds and the loam, we were looking at $2,000. Again, these were just planning numbers, nothing firm.
Okay, so we're pretty
So,
close.
so you're looks like at the moment that you're, within that general parameter.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Did you happen to have a price for the 50 posts?
yeah, you had given me the price of, and I looked at it, I confirmed it on Amazon. It was $112.05, and the shipping was free with Prime. The shipping on the fencing was free or is free. I don't know what kind of tax would be involved, and
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. So on that particular subject, I'm going to have a discussion with June. Normally, if we buy things locally and if we're not using the highway department's credit card, one has to get documents and present them wherever we're purchasing something locally. Or we can use the credit card at Lowe's where the account is already set up and we don't get charged a tax. Now to buy something on Amazon, that's completely different. I'm not sure how that would work. I know that the town's policy is when they're spending town monies, they will not pay sales tax.
right.
So I need to have a discussion with her that if we go forward, if we decide as a group to go forward to make these purchases of the posts and the deer fencing on Amazon, I got to understand how that works. So I will have a discussion with her on that, and I'll report on that at our next meeting.
Okay.
Let me just, for the sake of the other people, let me just mention a few things about the products you presented here this evening, and which I have purchased. I did purchase that deer fencing. It's quite rugged. It was hard to see somewhat difficult to see the sample that Deborah was showing,
And those
but it's quite rugged. I think it would last for several years, and it seems to me to be very durable. I put some up on my farm to keep deer out of a particular overwintering area that I have. I use the complete, it's almost 8 feet. It's just under 8 feet in height. And as Deborah mentioned, we could get quite a bit of bang for the buck, I think, by cutting it in half and ending up with close to a 4-foot high fence. It's easy to cut with shears. It's not difficult, but it appears to be very durable. And the fence post, I'm sorry.
Reviews too, and they said it was terrific. Most of the people spoke very highly of it as well.
Okay, good. The fence posts are ones that I have used here as well. They're plastic with a metal spike at the bottom of it. Again, It's for electric fencing. They're quite durable. I have some electric fencing set up around my apiary. It's been out there for a couple of years now. It's standing up really well. They're easy to install. You just push them in with your foot. They have a little pad on it that you can rest your foot on and push them into the ground. And they're easy to take out. And that's what we want because it's a seasonal fence. We want something that's easy to install and easy to remove in the fall. So I think it's perhaps a good choice. If anybody else has any other recommendations or observations, feel free to mention it.
Carl, can I just ask a question?
Yes.
The 10X fencing that you're talking about, is that electrified or no?
No, it's not.
Okay.
This is not electrified. It comes in a large roll, and it doesn't have the capability to be electrified. There's no metal in it. It's
Right.
strictly plastic. So, like I said, I will take the action to discuss the tax situation, the sales tax situation with June. And between now and when we meet again next month, if somebody has any other ideas or other recommendations, please bring them forward. If not, I would suggest that we vote on making the purchase of these two items, the fencing and the post at our next meeting. Is that agreeable and acceptable to everybody? Any comments, questions? All right. Very good. Did you have anything more, Deborah, to add to that?
No, I think that was everything I needed to do. I will look at the Home Depot options for the fencing or the gates.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that because I happen to be at Tractor Supply today.
Oh,
They have a gate. They're more expensive, but it's something we might want to consider.
okay. You
The
want me to
gates, the gates, first of all, the gates that you're proposing, I presume, are just gates and they don't come with posts to which they would be attached. Okay, so that would be an added cost we'd have to look at. The gate that is at Tractor Supply, okay, they go for $99.90. It's a tubular type gate. They're 4 feet long, which would make a nice wide opening, and they're 52 inches high, and they're wire filled in the center of the tubular structure. They also come with 2 pintles, which is an old time word for hinges. These pintles would screw into, say, a cedar post, and then you put the gate on those pintles. So it's something that we might want to look into it. I got a SKU number, Deborah. If I can send this to you in an email if that's easier. Why don't I do that? I'll send you an email with this information,
All right.
and you can see them online, and we can discuss it again next month.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you. I think we can now move on to the next subject under old business. The surplus equipment that we have or had, consisting of the 2 550-gallon storage tanks. I think, as most of you know, those have been moved off-site from the community garden. They're in the possession of the highway department, and they're going to use them, so they'll have need for them. And the other piece of surplus equipment is the solar pump system, consisting of the pump, a flotation switch, and the solar panels that are still on the roof of the garden shed. I had made a recommendation to our facility superintendent and our town administrator that perhaps this solar pump system could be used by the cemetery commission. It's my understanding at North Cemetery, they have a well up there that has been in place for some period of time. but isn't being used. Presumably the well was put in so people could water plants on their loved ones' graves. And there's no way of apparently getting water out of the well at the moment. So I thought they might be interested in hooking up this system. They certainly would not need a 550-gallon tank, but perhaps a small 30 or 40-gallon tank would be more than adequate. And once hooked up, it wouldn't cost them anything to operate. So that recommendation was passed on to both of those individuals, and the pump itself is and the flotation switch are currently being stored at the highway department, and the solar panels, as I said, are still on the roof of the garden shed. So unless somebody else comes up with an idea as how it could be used in the town, that's where that stands at the moment. Any questions, observations, comments? Okay, very good. We'll move on to the next subject. Additional security requirements at the community garden. So at the last meeting, we discussed that when we get our priority items accomplished with the grant money, specifically the maintenance of the garden shed, the additional raised beds, and the fencing in the gate, if there's any funding left over, because of recent thefts at the community garden, we might want to look into a video camera situation or system. Now that we have direct current power at the community garden shed. James, have you, yes, have you, I just woke him up. No.
I'm back.
Have you had an opportunity to look into any of that since we discussed it in class?
A little bit, not a huge amount, but
Okay.
I mean, it seems like you could get something. You could easily get something that had like 4 cameras and would just kind of record a bit, and that would give you pretty good coverage over, I think, most of what we want to look at.
Right.
And that wouldn't break the bank. It seems like you can get stuff.
Do you have any
from-
idea what a system like that might cost? Sort of a ballpark number at this point?
Depending on what it was, between probably like 150 and 400, you could probably do it somewhere in there, depending on what you wanted.
Okay.
Um,
Now, one of the concerns I would have with a system like that, it would be a year-round thing. We obviously aren't gardening during the winter, and probably not worried about people stealing produce, but perhaps other things. And the building isn't heated. Can a system like that be in that kind of environment where we will have temperatures, very low temperatures in the wintertime?
most of them are probably pretty durable. I'll do a little bit more digging on that, but
Yeah, that would be my biggest concern, both from a point of view of extreme cold and extreme heat.
yeah, I mean the cameras would be fine. It would just be a question of the actual unit that houses
Right.
the recording itself. Which it seems like we could probably find something for that application.
Okay.
We can't be the only ones who
Right.
are looking for something like that. So.
Okay, so if you could do a little bit more research on it, there's certainly no rush. We have plenty of time to discuss this further. Anybody have any questions on that particular subject? All right, hearing none, we'll move on. Seasonal closing of the community garden. I know Deborah has been sending out several emails encouraging people to get the garden cleaned up, and I took a ride down there today, and it looks quite good. I didn't get out in the rain, I just stayed in my truck, but from that point of view, it looked like it was in pretty good condition. Did you want to have anything to say on that, Deborah?
No, there's a couple more things that have to be done. So I have somebody coming to help me tomorrow and Thursday, and that should have it all ready to go. And I wanted to mark out the water line for Buddy, which I'm going to stake it off so it's highly visible. I know, Buddy, you can see the stakes in the ground, but I wanted to mark off the pathway on either side for you to give you a better,
You're gonna use something like a caution tape or something like that?
yeah, I was thinking I might take some of that orange string that we have
Oh, yeah.
and run, who was it, Eversource left a bunch of those small spikes that they put into the bales when they're doing their work.
Oh, yeah.
So they're there, and I was just
Okay.
gonna put a bunch of those and run the orange line down it, so.
So it sounds like that perhaps by the end of this week, you might be in a position to say that the garden's ready for tilling.
I'm hoping by Thursday it's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's not, it's gonna be done
Okay,
by Thursday.
very good. So Buddy, once that's been done, you're prepared to do your annual thing of getting it tilled and some ryegrass down?
Yep. Yeah.
I do have a question though, because some of the gardeners suggested this while we were working, and I said I would run it by at the meeting. They wanted to know if maybe it was in our best interest when Buddy tilled this year to till out that back section that we are thinking is most likely going to be very highly, how can I say this? I think we're looking at having more gardeners next year because of the apartments.
Okay.
And so is it more sensible to till it out and sow the seed to get rid of all the junk that's back there now, so that in the spring, if we need it, it's in better shape than if it was just tilled under in the spring? Did that make sense?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I think it does. The only thing that I would mention is that we have established a price in our FY21 budget for tilling our existing footprint. So if there's, and for the ryegrass, I should add as well.
Mhm.
So if there's additional cost, Buddy, for, this will go into the area that was initially tilled, that we brought back in because of fewer people, but Deborah's point is well taken, that we probably will have more gardeners this coming season because of the apartments. So I guess what I'm saying is, maybe you want to look at it and see if there's going to be additional costs associated with tilling that expanded area, as well as any ryegrass seed cost before you proceed. And then let me know, and I can get the word out to everybody if there is. And we'll see where it may be able to fit in the FY21 budget. Does that sound reasonable?
Problem.
Do you
Okay.
want me to stake it? Do you want me to put stakes where the additional place would be? I mean, it's probably pretty obvious because it's a big patch of weeds.
Yeah, I know where it is.
Okay.
All right. So if there's an impact, I'll send out an email to everybody, and
Yeah, that's fine.
I will coordinate with.
Yeah, we'll figure out, because the grass seed is the rye seed is probably gonna be a little less on summer, because the middle's gonna be a spot that's gonna be a little less anyway. So going down with the pass and the water pipe, so there's a little less there. So we'll make it work.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Thank you both. Let's see. Guess that covers all of the old business. So under new business, the first item, which we've already somewhat touched upon, is the payment of the Lowe's invoice in the amount of $737.07. I will be processing the document necessary to forward that to our town accountant. And as you folks approved in the minutes of the September minutes, you gave me authorization to sign off on those invoices and forward them to the town accountant in accordance with the General Law, Part 1, Title 7, Chapter 41, Section 56. So I will take advantage of that authority, and I will forward that bill to the town accountant for payment. Anybody have any questions on that subject? Okay, thank you. Next item is review of the community garden rules and regulations. Deborah has worked very hard and has done an excellent job of updating those rules and regulations. I think you have all received a copy of them. My general observation is most of the changes are of administrative type, some wordsmithing and things of that nature. I think the only significant change has to do with the payment of the donation for the garden plots. We gave people out to the 1st of April. They could submit their application in after they receive it in January, February, or March, and they didn't have to pay their donation until the 1st of April. To relieve the additional administrative burden that results from that on Deborah, we've agreed to change it that the applicants must submit their donation at the time the applicant is sent in. Deborah, did you want to go through the rules and regulations for the rest of the members and highlight any other points you think are appropriate?
Yeah, I don't have the old stuff, but basically the first part is all the same. It's just the overview, the change to the applications, as you said. And I don't think the plot assignment stuff changed at all.
I have the old one in front of me here that you marked up, and I will take a quick look at it.
Yes, I gave you my original copy.
All right. Again, it's mostly wordsmithing, which is a good thing because it clears up a lot of, I don't mean that in a demeaning way by any means. It cleans up some potentially confusing language, which Deborah has done a great job of
I consolidated a lot of stuff.
What's that?
I consolidated a lot of stuff.
Yes,
that was
right, which is
repetitive,
a good thing.
and I bolded out a lot of stuff that I thought people needed to see, you know, 'cause
Yeah.
it's real easy when you skim something like this, because I keep trying to make it one page less. This thing down from 5 pages to 3 now, so
You're getting there.
yeah.
And she did adjust the change relative to the new water system. But again, so folks, I think those are the majority of the changes that we've highlighted. You've all had an opportunity to read it. So I'd like to call for a vote on going forward with these updated rules and regulations. So could I have a motion to approve the rules and Berlin Community Garden rules and regulations updated on in October of 2020?
I move that we accept the new rules.
Okay, Kevin has made the motion. Can we have a second?
I'll second it.
Buddy's made a second. All in favor, please signify.
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
unanimous. Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
A
What
part-
I would,
I noticed at the end of it, when I was doing it on page 3, we had, you know, adopted 2012, revised. Actually, I don't think it was revised. It was approved by the Board of
Board of
Selectmen.
Selectmen of 2016, 17, and 20.
And I added 20, so
Yeah.
it shouldn't be revised, it should be approved, right?
Yeah.
By the Board of Selectmen, and so we need to submit this to them.
Yes, I was just going to mention that. I think you're right. We should take the word revised out and say approved by. And I was going to forward it, the final copy, to the town administrator and highlight, you know, some of the changes and ask her to obtain the approval of the selectmen. We've done this before. We haven't had any significant problems. We haven't had any problems, I should say.
No, the Board of Selectmen has a garden there, so.
Yeah, well, that'll help. So Deborah, if you could just send me a revised page 3
Okay,
reflect approved instead of revised. I will take that action to forward that to the town administrator to obtain Board of Selectmen approval.
okay,
Very good, thank you.
all right. I will do that.
Moving on. Garlic bed at the community garden. So some weeks back, Deborah contacted me saying that there was a group of gardeners that would like to establish a garlic bed, approximately 10 by 10, in the area near the garden shed. I think somewhere around where the old water tank was.
We're gonna put it on the other side.
The other side? Okay, the other
Yeah,
side.
I needed Buddy to be able to move in that
Okay.
messy area.
Okay, all right, very good. So I just want to state for the record, okay, that Deborah has advised that all the costs associated with putting this bed in, the rototilling of the small plot, the purchase of the garlic bulbs and seedling sets, I should say, and straw covering it. This is all being funded by the gardeners themselves, and there's no AgCom monies being allocated to this particular project. So we hope to have wonderful aroma in the springtime down there. And
Nice scapes.
And no vampires.
right, hopefully you'll have a good crop that comes out of it. One thing we did do, we were going to shut the water system down shortly after the garden closed on the 12th, but we're going to extend it a few more weeks so these garlic folks, if you will, can have access to the water to set the plants in properly. I had an email correspondence with our Highway Department Supervisor Dave Smith, and he and I've also invited Deborah. I don't know if she saw the email.
Yeah, I'm working that day.
Okay, no problem. I invited her to a meeting with the highway superintendent at the garden site on Thursday at 1 o'clock for the purpose of going over how the existing water line should be drained for the upcoming winter season. So we'll be going over that, and that'll be done by the highway department shortly after the garlic bed is in place and we don't need the water there. So that may be more to the latter part of this month. I don't think we have to worry about an extreme deep freeze between now and then. I think the system should be fine. So that's what's on the agenda. Take care of that problem. Anybody have any questions on that subject? All right, we'll move on. Signage at the community garden. I don't know if you all have been down there recently, but we discussed at our last meeting, and I had prepared an 8.5 by 11 sheet with concerning people entering the garden that shouldn't be entering the garden and stealing things, vegetables, which Deborah posted in the bulletin board down there. But then she took the initiative to get those sort of white blank political type signs and made up some great signs, 3 or 4 of them, I don't remember the exact number, clearly indicating that people are not allowed into the garden unless invited by a gardener. And they're obviously not allowed to take anything out of the garden. And that if they are, if they have a situation where they have food insecurity, that they should contact our local food bank. So I just wanted to mention she did a great job putting up that signage. They're all directly to the point, so people should get the message real quick when they read them. So thanks for doing that, Deborah.
You're welcome. Made the gardeners happy at least.
Okay, have we had any other incidences after you put those up? Yeah.
No, only I went down there one day. There was a car from New York in the parking lot and a guy and a bunch of kids, and I went to get something. I come back and the kids are running through the pathways of the garden. So
Okay.
obviously they couldn't read.
Yeah.
I just told him to get out in my very pleasant way.
Okay.
Yeah, Martin.
Yeah, very diplomatic, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that pretty much concludes the agenda. Does anybody have any thing they'd like to add? Any comments, complaints, observations?
The only thing I could add,
Yes, Kevin?
Buddy can finish.
Okay, oh, I'm sorry, buddy.
the only thing I could add to is that I deliver compost to the other community gardens that deliver to Bolton and Hudson, and they all have locks on their gates.
Okay,
I don't know what they do, what they have a certain time people could come in and certain times. I mean, I know that's gonna be a pain in the butt for somebody like you, Deborah, that has to go down, unlock the gate if that's how we're gonna set it up. But that keeps, if you got a fence around, it keeps people more or less honest.
Yeah, unless we have a combo gate that,
You know, I'm just saying, you know, I can't get into when I go in there, sometimes they lock the gate, so when I bring the compost to wait for someone to come unlock the gate so I can get in.
now when you say there's a gate, buddy, just to clarify that.
Uh,
Is the whole area fenced in, or is this
Yeah, the
is
whole
it just a
garden
gate
area is fenced in,
with a
yeah.
permanent fence
right?
that's locked? Okay,
It's locked, yeah.
so it's not just a gate at the driveway entrance or something like that?
No, it's a gate around the actual, the Hudson one's all raised beds. And they actually have a gate around it and they lock the gate so that they can't get in. I don't know if the gardeners, I don't know what they've made arrangements with 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever, but, and the Bolton one's got to get fence all the way around it with the same thing.
Yeah, one of the situations that we have to be concerned about is that the 7+ acres that's on the 100-year lease where the garden is located is classified as conservation land, and it's open to the public to use to walk for passive type of recreation, walking, bird watching, things of that nature. So that's one of the reasons we were looking into a fence to keep the critters out that was seasonal and very low key. To have something more permanent would, number one, be more costly, obviously. And I don't know if we could even install it down there without going through.
Even the temporary fence, putting a chain around it, around the gate so they can't get in.
Well, I think, you know, certainly anybody that wants to get into something like that can find a way to do it. And I think even if we have a low profile type fencing with gates, people would be more hesitant, let me put it that way, perhaps. And
Yeah, just a thought.
unless, yeah, I appreciate the input. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say on that or any comments.
oh, not on that. But
Okay.
we need, you know, it's something to think about, how to just one more layer of making it difficult for somebody to get in there who shouldn't be in there. So,
Well, one of the things we might want to consider, and because, you know, most people that are going to do something like that are going to be driving into the area. So we might be able to get permission. I don't know if the Conservation Commission is involved, and certainly we can discuss it with them. But we could put a what I would call a bar gate in the driveway leading to the parking lot. In other words, have enough room for a car to pull in so it would be off the road, and then there would be a bar gate across that would be locked and unlocked at specific times of day. Again, like Buddy pointed out, that would require somebody going down there on a daily basis, twice a day, to both lock and unlock the gate. So that would at least prevent cars from going down into the parking area during off hours, during the period of, you know, before sunrise and after sunset. So that's something we could discuss further if you think it's appropriate. And that in itself might prevent people from going in to do things that they shouldn't be doing. Anything else? Kevin, did you have something you wanted to?
Yeah, yes, I do. This has to do with the USDA in the FSA office in Holden. They have a program now for COVID-19. This is their second program now. They've had one before that was just a percentage of your loss that they gave you some money. Now they have another program that's giving you a percent of your 2019 gross sales. And it looks like it's around 9 or 10%, which is something you should look at. You have to pay taxes on this money, but it's, you just do your own math real quick and you can see how much money you could possibly get. I've already done it and I've already gotten the money.
Okay, good. So you have to prove a loss to get this, I presume?
No, Mike's going to tell you. I think he's already applied for it. You don't have to prove anything. You just give them the honest figures, that they ask for. Don't try to balloon things up. Give them the honest figures that you could prove if they came and asked for them, and they send you the money. Right, Mike?
Yeah, it's all hinging on, just like Kevin said, your 2019 gross sales. And like Kevin said, they just asked for an honest number, what you sold. And in the form, it's sick how easy it is. And it's free money.
So the money, as Kevin mentioned, is subject to federal and state tax?
It will be, yeah.
Yeah. Is there a repayment obligation?
No, none.
Does it matter whether a farmer has had a profit or a loss, or is it just based on gross sales?
No.
Just sales, wow.
It's gross sales?
Just flat out gross sales.
Okay.
Is there a deadline?
Yep, December 11th, Kevin?
Yeah, it's somewhere right around the 1st of December.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't stall on doing it because the money may run out.
Right.
So
Okay.
I have a telephone number here of the office in Holden if you want that number.
Yes,
Sure.
please. Yep.
508-829-4477.
All right, very good. Thank you for that information.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anybody got anything else?
One
Deborah?
last thing. I'm going to rewrite the registration form for the community garden because
Oh, yes, that's on the agenda. I forgot to mention that. Sorry.
it should be in the office to go. The census usually gets mailed out in January. Is that
Yeah,
right, James?
Yeah, we need to get the registration form to the town clerk in early December
Okay.
so that it can be included in the census report that goes out in the January timeframe.
All right.
Gives her a time to run them off and things like that.
Okay. I'll have it
Okay.
ready for the next meeting and then everybody,
Yes.
I'll send a copy so everybody can look at it. And
I'm glad you brought that up because it was on the agenda and I unintentionally overlooked it here.
Okay.
So yes, if we could have that for the November meeting, we'll review it, approve it, and get it to the town clerk shortly after our November meeting. Okay, very good. Anything else? I have a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Kevin always makes the motion. Thank you, Kevin. Buddy, second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.